Hi, friends.
Hello, twinkle toe spooky. Oh,
every day is a toe day over here.
I'm a toe gal. If you can
Toes on Sabrina's mind week after week.
For as much as I talk about toes, I don't have a foot fetish.
It's just the default move where it's like when your brain panics, you're like, think of something. Toes.
Yeah. Potatoes, tomatoes.
I have an announcement that's not really an announcement.
Are you having twins?
No.
Hey, it's me, Sabrina, from present day. I just want to say a quick thing. Corinne did not have twins, but in case you missed it, baby Noah is here, and he's so cute. He scarily looks just like Bryan. Okay, back to the show. There might be a couple more of these. And there's Leia scratching my couch. Thanks, Leia.
This is like me delivering a piece of news like a year before it will happen. Bryan and I decided that in 2025 we will get a dog. But I'm excited about it. So I'm just thinking about it a lot. But it's like not really. It'll come, but everyone's going to forget about it by then. But I keep thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have a dog here. I'm so excited.
I cannot wait. And I also like that you're saying, similar to how I said, like, I'm going to go to Europe this summer and work on my book. You're manifesting it and having now a whole entire community that's holding you and Bryan accountable. And now I get to hold you accountable.
Okay, hi, me again. I just felt like I needed to interrupt because, listen, I didn't go to Europe and we recorded so many encounters kind of back when I had been planning to go to Europe. And that's also before present day me decided to move to Marblehead, Massachusetts, which is 30 minutes away from Corinne now. She's been begging me to do that for years. So I don't want to sound like a hypocrite. So I'm jumping in here to say, hi, I acknowledge that I did not go to London and I'm not writing my book in Europe, but I am writing a book in Marblehead that is inspired by the town that I came up with this idea like 2 years ago when I first visited. But yes, hi, present day me, house poor me, did not go to Europe, but bought a house and am still writing a book.
It's funny. It's one of those things where I feel like this is how Bryan and I make decisions too, is we very rarely like have an official sit down conversation. It'll just be like one of us in passing kind of saying that they're interested in something and the other one being like, oh yeah. And then just randomly out of the blue, we'll both be like very much in sync where we'll both be like, should we get a dog? Yes. And that's it. That's the conversation. There's no like real planning. Although there was a little bit of planning with this one because we basically were just like, yes, let's get a dog. And I was like, should we do it now? And Bryan was like, well, let's have the baby first.
I will say it was so freaking cute when I was babysitting Noemi. She loves the animals so much. Mm-hmm. And she was chasing the cats around and like they liked it. Like my one cat Bizu or my mom's cat Bizu was just like,
you mean Dada?
Dada, yeah. Ruby, my mom's dog, was not so keen on it, but it was so cute. And she just wanted, I think because she's crawling, they're so on her level, you know? What was that?
I totally thought I made hot tea.
What did you make
instead?
instead?
And it is so cold. I don't know what I did. How did I do this wrong?
You made cold tea?
I made cold tea.
That is a shock. It's not what you expected.
Pregnancy brain. Is this hot water? No, it's not.
Okay, well, for people who are curious, it was not Corinne's fault. The hot water was out.
I'm not that out of it yet.
I know you've been like hard on yourself and feeling like you have pregnancy brain and are only completing 30% of your tasks. But Corinne,
yeah,
I said this to you yesterday, but you are freaking superhuman.
Oh, thanks.
You truly are.
Last night on Campfire Stories, because I did Campfire Stories alone last night, and I told everyone that I'd been feeling like really just down about my brain capacity and functioning levels because it's so hard for me to ask for help. And it's also really hard for me to not just consistently rely on myself like I used to. Mm-hmm. And to just not remember what I'm supposed to do. Or even like I was saying last night, I was like, even if I did make a to-do list, I wouldn't know what to put on it. And if I did know what to put on it, I would lose the list. And if I just made it on Google Calendar, I would forget to check Google Calendar. Like life doesn't feel easy in my brain right now. And then everyone on Campfire Stories was just complimenting me. And I was like, you guys, you don't need to gas me up here. It was just a small complaint and we can move on.
But it's true.
But it was really nice that everyone was like, you've got other things going on.
You do have a lot going on. And I know it's hard to feel all of those feelings. Man, I really wish I had a excuse for why I feel that way all the time. Actually, I do. It's depression and anxiety. But like, But I get it. And it's a really frustrating feeling.
Yeah, it's not out of nowhere for you.
But at the same time, the amount of work we are doing right now on top of you, like trying to get your house together and prepare for a baby is exponentially more than we've ever done.
There's no free time. And it's also very hard on your voice to talk for like 8 hours straight all day.
Are we going to do like our high school theater move and go on vocal rest?
Oh, we might have to.
Walk around with like a little like whiteboard.
Or you know how like musicians will have those little personal steam inhalers and they'll just like put them, like a little mask that they put on their face and they breathe in the steam, you know? We might have to get one of those because our voices are so important.
Nice. This is an Encounters episode, by the way.
Everyone. It is. Wait, did we even say that this is 2 Girls, 1 Ghost? This is 2 Girls, 1 Ghost.
2 Girls, 1 Ghost. And we are your ghostesses. That is Corinne.
Hello.
I am Sabrina. And this is an Encounters episode. Basically, we read your emails. If you submit an email into our email, which is 2girls1ghostpodcast@gmail.com, about literally anything, any supernatural, cryptid, strange, odd, unusual, paranormal, or just confusing, confounding experience that you, your family, your friend, your strange neighbors have experienced, you can email it to us and we read it back to you. And I have one to start us on that I'm so excited about, but it's also kind of spooky. Actually, it's very spooky. Okay.
Oh.
This is from our listener, Jay, and I'm not going to read the subject line. Hi, longtime listener, first time emailer. I literally just left the Addicts Theater after your Conjuring Tour show and wanted to write you immediately about an experience I had during the show.
I'm wearing our haunted merch right now, the sweatshirt where all the children say, ghost, ghost, and point at it.
The second, and I mean the absolute second, you started talking about your alien theory, a specific spot on my head started to throb. Why is this weird, you may ask? Well, while I was in college, 2013 to 2017, I experienced 3 freak accidents 3 summers in a row. Crushed knuckles, broken nose, and major concussion, all respectively. So year 1, knuckles, 2, nose, 3, concussion.
Wow.
By the 3rd summer, ER doctors and I were practically besties, and I had to get a CT scan.
You need a little punch card where like your 10th visit is completely free.
I know, right? So I had to get a CT scan for my concussion, and when the doctor brought me the results, he said, and I quote, "In terms of the concussion, the scan came back perfect. But were you aware of the alien object lodged into your left parietal bone?"
Wait, sorry. What the fuck?
Excuse me? Naturally, my hand went up to my head, and sure as heck, there is a scar-like bump on the left of my head just above my ear that is completely unexplainable. I even asked my parents about past injuries, and they have absolutely no recollection of any injuries to my head. I've always joked about it, to stop the fears and my tears, lol. But when you started talking about aliens, my scar-like possible abduction bump started throbbing. And that is incredibly spooky.
Oh, that is really freaky.
My life is like one sick universal joke. I've had near-death experiences, freak accidents, etc. So I guess maybe I'm a fun sim for the aliens. Anyway, love the show. You guys are so funny. And I'm glad you decided to go on tour. See you on the other side, Jay.
Okay, Jay. I have some questions, which I don't think Jay would be able to answer because we don't know what's in Jay's brain. But I am curious. When we were discussing aliens and Jay was feeling the throbbing around their head or that object within their head, do you think it was because the alien object is reacting and like somehow knows that it's being talked about? Yes. Or do you think that there's some suppressed memories in Jay of what happened? Because it's like, you know, the body keeps the score sort of thing where there's some part of Jay that Jay cannot recollect, but like the brain, the body knows and is trying to like almost push the thing out. Like this is reminding us of the time that we were taken and trying to like shove the object back to the surface.
I kind of feel more the first one because, well, I mean, I'm thinking of like Harry Potter and how his scar throbs when Voldemort-like entities are around. Also, my mom calls one of her ex-boyfriends Voldemort now, and it's all I can think about when I say it.
He who should not be named.
Yeah. I really should do a whole like segment on my mom's dating life. Join us on Patreon.
Yeah. I mean, that's just a podcast that you could start with your mom. She could be your co-host. I'm not sure
Yeah.
you'd survive it though.
I don't think I would either. And she would just talk the whole time, and I would just be like, okay, well, Mom, this was supposed to be something we do together, but sure, take over. No, but it does make me think like that it's like a beacon.
It's so freaky. It also is making me want to feel around my head and be like, do I have any mystery bumps and scars that I don't remember?
I create them myself. I have like a picking my scalp issue. I'm working on it.
Well, I once knew someone who, for stress, they would pluck the hair on their eyebrows and then they just didn't have eyebrows.
Didn't Lena Dunham do that with her eyelashes?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Also, I'm remembering that Ciara from Ladies and Tangents also had just like a mystery. Was it her spleen or something that was just gone?
Oh my God, I forgot about this.
Because she's missing a part of her that there's no record of it being taken out.
Yeah, that's fucking
And it was
weird.
like surgically removed.
Yeah, how does that happen?
Okay, I wanted to jump in here because this story is actually bananas. And as I was listening to the edit of this, I texted Jerry and Ciara and I was like, okay, hold on. We need to get this story straight because it is bizarre and it is strange. And it's even stranger than we thought. Also strange is the fact that this room has 3 different colors of green. It will probably be the last time you see these because I'm getting new wallpaper installed. Okay, so I texted Jerry and Ciara and I was like, listen, hi, I need to know all the details about your missing spleen because at the time that's what we thought it was. Why can't I remember everything, or are we making this up? So here's the story. Apparently there's also a Daily Mail article about it that I will link in the show notes. The Daily Mail article is called Woman Stunned After Doctors Tell Her That Appendix is Missing. So Ciara was having terrible stomach pains. Also, did I say Jerry and Ciara of Ladies and Tangents? I think I said that. Anyway, Ciara was having terrible stomach pains and was worried something was wrong. So she went to the ER and found out they had cysts that had burst. But while they were looking, they realized they couldn't find her appendix. There's also a TikTok that I will link from Jerry and Ciara. Specifically, they're still looking for that missing appendix. Apparently there was like evidence of as if something had happened to it, but she never had surgery. They don't know what happened to it. Spooky.
Also, how do the doctors not like investigate? I guess like they're not going to open up her brain if this isn't like causing an issue, but like, isn't there any type of investigation that they can do? Yeah, for Jay to decipher what this is. Like, if it's sending signals somewhere, shouldn't we investigate that? Jay, can we open up your brain real quick?
I know, it's also like it would be so dangerous too to not know that something's there. Because what if you like went through some metal detector that's super strong and it like what if it reacts and it like rips through your brain? I think there needs to be a follow-up. I agree. Make an appointment, Jay, with your doctor.
Make an appointment with Corinne and I, and we will take a scalpel into your skull.
We're bringing back lobotomies, but in the safest way possible.
With no medical expertise.
No medical expertise, and it's not to change anything about you, but to just get all the alien matter out of your brain.
Yeah.
Okay. This is called First Bride's Grave Tried to Kill My Brother, maybe?
What?
Hi, Corinne, Sabrina, Sven, Leia, and whoever else. I live in Sioux City, Iowa, and we have a few haunted places around here. Our airport is haunted because of the crash of United Flight 232, and people have reported hearing screaming. The one haunted location I'm writing about is called the First Bride's Grave. It's just a little bit of a spot, and you have to walk just a little bit uphill to get to it from this very small parking lot. Now, the grave marker itself is on a little cliff, and it has a metal fence around it, evidently because the marker had fallen over and it had killed a boy at one point.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, me and my brother and a friend had gone up to visit because we heard that it was haunted. So towards sundown, I had started to feel some heat coming off of the bars on the south side of the fence. It was like someone had turned on a space heater. I had ignored it for a little bit, thinking that it was just me, but then I pointed it out, and my brother and my friend also felt it as well, and we tried to see if any other part of the fence was giving off that heat. It was just the outside of the south side of the fence. Our friend soon went back down, and it was just me and my brother up there. It had gotten dark, and we heard something in the woods to the east. So we were on the side of the grave, and my brother was asking what was there. Suddenly, something unseen picked my brother up and threw him. He was thrown into the fence, but I have a feeling that maybe the thing was actually trying to throw him off that little cliff.
Holy shit.
My brother has since passed away this past August, and I am writing this with a little bit of a grin on my face, wondering if my brother went to confront whatever that thing was after he passed. See you on the other side, Richard and Jill.
Well, I'm really sorry for your loss.
Yeah.
I hate this location. Is there like research we could do on this? I want to read about it.
Right. Especially because someone else had already died there too.
Right.
So for something to like pick up with so much force and chuck a grown man.
Right. That's the thing about the paranormal is often it doesn't physically interact with you.
Mm-hmm.
Most encounters with the paranormal, specifically like ghostly paranormal entities, it's a visual, it's an audible, it is a flicker in your periphery. Very rarely is it poltergeisty, and then even more rarely is it able to pick a human person up. Like we hardly ever hear stories of that.
I know, it's so aggressive, and it does sound like it stopped there. Like it was just he was thrown, and I'm sure they ran back down the hill, and that was that. But it is so aggressive. Like there's so much strength.
I also wonder where Richard Jill's brother felt the like pick up. Was it from like the waist, from the legs,
or just your entire body?
Right.
Like I'm thinking of Stranger Things. I feel like I reference them a lot, but they have so many good examples of the paranormal where, you know, in the most recent season where they're all being like kind of picked up and
manipulated and levitated.
Hovering.
Huh.
If I like good, make a deal with God.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't love that. Okay, well, I want to look up this place. We should add it to our list. First Bride's Grave. I'm just quick search. It does have a lot of history. It was built in 1938. There's a trail you can hike to get there. Okay, that doesn't say much about haunting, but I'm very curious.
Maybe we'll have to do an episode on it. Do some digging.
Literally, into the grave. So Jay's story was a little bit about throbbing in her head, and I naturally went to throbbing elsewhere with my next story.
Ah, yes. The natural pivot as you make your way through the Akatar book series.
A ghostly throb in the genital region. All right, let's get kinky.
Okay.
This is from our listener, Randy, and it's called Ghost Vibrator. Hello, my favorite ghostly gals. My name is Randy, and I love you guys. Like, truly, you have no idea how much I love you both. I've been listening since the very beginning.
So nice.
In 2017, and you have both got me through so much, and I cannot wait to see where else I get with you two by my side. Mm-hmm. We're your little pocket friends.
Okay, wait, Randy. So we're recording this episode early, much earlier than it comes out. But last night, I met Randy on Campfire Stories.
How weird.
Randy's the one that I was like, you missed this cat that was so cute. Her cat was like 18 years old, and his little paws, he was just kind of hanging here, and she was grabbing his paws and kind of moving them up and down, and he was missing all of his teeth.
Why does this make me emotional? Why did that make like that feels weird? That's the one Campfire Stories I have not been in.
And then you picked Randy's.
And I picked Randy's story.
Yeah.
Wow. Randy, I'm so sad I did not see your cat. I heard all about it, and I want to give it teethless gummy kisses. Okay. I hope that maybe in real life we can meet and form a ghostly friendship. I've been pretty dang haunted my whole life and have so many experiences, from seeing my dead dog when I was 6 and my mom's morbid, half-asleep response to that, to a haunted sleepover, maybe predicting deaths, timeline jumps, and meeting the love of my life and him growing up / still living in a haunted house that I now live in as well. I will
that
send
story
you...
was told on Campfire Stories.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to go back and re-listen to that Campfire Story so I feel like I don't have FOMO. Also, apparently Randy had a dream about you being pregnant before you announced it.
Yes, we also discussed that. I will tell you what happened so that you don't have FOMO.
Okay.
Randy had a dream that there were 2 pregnancy tests, and one was a blue line pregnancy test that said negative, and one was a pink line pregnancy test that said positive. And then Randy, I think, woke up from that dream and was like, that was so weird, took a pregnancy test and it was negative and it was a blue line. And then she asked me, because it was like 2 weeks before I announced that I was pregnant, she was like, do you remember if the pregnancy test that you took, if it was a blue or a pink line? And so I pulled up the picture of it and we looked at it on Campfire Stories, and it was a pink line for positive, a pink test.
That's so cool.
I was like, you better tell me if you have any other dreams about
seriously.
babies or pregnancies, because maybe it was very connected to me.
Well, Randy does say in this that they've had a lot of experiences like predicting life and death. So, Randy, you're onto something. Okay. Randy said they are working on putting together an email with all of their experiences. But if you read this on the podcast, I will get to send my mom the "Mom, look, I'm famous" text. So please read it. Okay, that'd be great. Okay, story time. So I'm going to preface this that my boyfriend's house is super haunted. There are so many different entities due to it being about 50 feet away from a cemetery. about a mile away from a historical military fort that was a place of a massacre, as well as a historical battleground where there was yet another massacre, and unfortunately, the tragic and untimely death of his older brother in 2015 happened at this house as well. Also, I definitely just got a major chill on my side, and there's nowhere for a draft to be coming in, so we're fine, right?
Everything's fine. We're fine.
My boyfriend and I, we are from a small town in Wyoming and live out pretty much in the middle of nowhere. But it's gorgeous up here, straight out of a storybook. However, it gets very spooky at night in this little town. This one story in particular actually takes place in my apartment, but I gave you the backstory of the house because I think something or someone came back to my apartment from his house.
Ooh, interesting.
I lived alone with my cat, and I didn't have to work that day, so I decided to take a nap on my couch. However, I didn't fully fall asleep, more like that half asleep, half awake state, so you're still getting rest, but you're not totally knocked out. I was laying on my stomach, arms up by the pillow, one leg bent up and the other straight. My couch pulled out to be a big couch/bed, so that's how I had it most of the time, to lounge comfortably. That sounds amazing. So I was completely sprawled out, the only way to sleep, and not long into my slight slumber, I started feeling some tingling between my legs. It was very faint at first, and I was still in that sleepy state, so I was like, okay, this is completely fine with me. And it led to me being fully turned on and wanting whatever it was to continue. This tingling got more intense, and when I allowed myself to fully enjoy it, now it was a full-on vibration, right on my sweet spot. It was doing all the right things. And then I felt what felt like a finger starting to circle around my entrance, but never actually going in and getting dirty with it. I was led into a
why are ghosts, why can all of the spirits know exactly what's right for everybody's body? It's like they have the cheat code already. They're so experienced, and everyone's different too. So I think what's so interesting about stories like this is there's no like, oh, more to the right or slower.
Right, you don't have to direct them.
Yeah, it's just
full-on enjoyment. Jeez. Okay. I was led into a full-on climax, and everything seemed to slowly go away after that. No more circling. The vibrating slowly went back into a tingling, and then nothing. I fully woke up after that and sat up and kind of went, whoa, what was that? Not mad at all, but what just, excuse me, who just? I almost seemed like this thing knew my body better than I did. Like it actually knew what I'd like. Since I'd met my boyfriend, weird things have been happening regularly, but never had I had this happen. There are so many spirits in that house, so to try and pinpoint who it was near impossible. Part of me thought maybe it was his brother. They weren't on the best of terms near the end of his life, but that feels a little extreme. It has happened one other time since, and I think it may be the ghost that I feel watching me in the shower, especially when me and my man get down and dirty in the shower. Oh, maybe the ghost is learning from watching Randy and her boyfriend.
Maybe in a past life, the three of you were a throuple.
Wait, apparently there's a new reality TV show called like Couple to Throuple that is dramatic.
Sounds messy. Might watch.
I've never told my boyfriend about it. We currently live in a camper in Alabama with one of my boyfriend's ghosts that came with us. We're about to make our way back up to Wyoming to continue working on the house and get it back into a beautiful home. The activity really ramped up last time we worked on it, so I'm interested to see what will happen this next time we start. Wish us luck. Once it's complete, you girls should come stay in this haunted town and maybe even visit my haunted house. Love you girls so much. And also, please come to Wyoming. Randy.
It does seem tempting knowing what happens there.
But how do you
just have a little sleepover?
Right.
How do you summon it?
Yeah, how do you summon it? It sounds like Randy has no control of when it comes, literally.
Yeah, that's true.
I love sex ghost stories. I think they're I said I don't have a foot fetish. I have a fetish for ghost sex.
Ghost sex. Because it's just so interesting. And it's like one of those things where it does feel really like special and magical sometimes. Like it's one of those things where you can't just opt to go do it. You can't be like, oh, well, I'm going to try that. It just has to happen to you.
It just has to happen.
I'm like racking my brain too because there's so many different spirits there between some of the tragedies that happened, like the battlegrounds. There's a lot of energy and spirits from different timelines. But part of me keeps going back to, okay, here's a question. And I'm not trying to diminish any or like take away from the relationship that Randy has with her boyfriend. Mm-hmm. But here's my thought. What if, because we're all, we have traveling souls. It can be more than just like two people that travel and reincarnate together and live different lives. What if Randy and her boyfriend living are connected and are traveling souls together. But there's another soul that is a traveling soul with Randy. And in a past life, that was Randy's lover. So it's like this life, Randy
so it
gets
is
to
a throuple.
experience romance with like one of the souls that she didn't have a romantic relationship in the last life with. But the last live's lover is like, well, I wasn't done. So
at least Randy gets to say at the end of their encounters that she has finished. Can we just take a second to realize that was really freaking funny? That was hilarious. I'm funny. Just want to give it a minute. I laughed at myself. That felt good. Okay, back to the show. Can you tell I'm lonely without Corinne? Ah! Bye. I will say, if there were to be a throuple situation, I do feel like a throuple where the third person's a ghost is probably most likely to succeed.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if Randy's boyfriend, if he ever experienced anything like that, how he would react to it. Because it
What if
does
he
feel
has?
so like,
What if they both haven't talked about it?
what if they're both dating the same ghost
my
and they
gosh!
have no idea?
What if they could all three have a fun, like, little threesome together?
Oh my God.
Invite the ghost in.
Okay, well, I don't know how to pivot off of ghost vibrator stories.
Then what about thruples? Is that a good
Well,
transition?
this is called Choked by a Ghost and a friendly shadow person. So
That could
we'll
be a
see
sex thing.
how this ends up. Yeah. Hey, ghouls. I just hopped on the 2 Girls, 1 Ghost bandwagon, so I'm far behind in the lineup, but I just finished listening to your second Encounters episode.
Wow.
Growing up, I believed in ghosts, and I don't remember actually seeing them. I had a friend who would host scary movie nights every Friday the 13th in middle school. I'm stealing that for my children.
That is
Or
amazing.
just me. I would attend as long as the movies had nothing to do with ghosts or possessions. Yet, here I am. I have 3 stories that I would like to share with y'all. The first story takes place my junior year of college. My boyfriend and I shared an apartment, and I had gone to bed, and he was up playing video games in the living room, maybe 20 feet away from me. I woke up, and I saw this lady. And yes, she was in white, floating up from the foot of the bed and gliding into the ceiling above me. As she was going up, she looked at me. And I know it wasn't sleep paralysis because 1, I had never experienced it, knock on wood, and 2, my cat Gus also saw her. After she was gone, I slowly walked out of the living room and I told Andrew what I saw. Without hesitation, he got off the game and talked to me about it. I never saw her again, and the only person who has died in our apartment complex was a male math teacher. We met him in our next apartment.
I am curious why ghosts like this always appear at the end of the bed and seem to like drift up into the ceiling. Like it is like a weird. Why don't? It's like
do
the
they have
old
control
like
over that?
iMovie transitions that ghosts seem to live by.
Yeah, it is very interesting. Part of me is like, was that intentional? Or is that sort of just like this default that just happens to them? Do they just like kind of float around when they're not paying attention? Or is something sucking them back up? As they would say in CBS Ghosts, are they getting sucked off?
Sucked off. There is a book that I read, and I think I've talked about it. It's called Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. And it's very like fantastical and very much about the paranormal and how you exist as a spirit and like get ushered into what is the afterlife.
Oh, interesting.
It is a really interesting book.
I'll read it. Okay, literally a month after seeing the woman, my friends and I went on a ghost tour of this old farm/converted nursing home, and it was shut down in the early 2000s for the amount of asbestos in there.
Yikes.
This was the second time we have gone there. They have one ghost at Hillview named George, and he passed in the boiler room due to exposure. Guess who we talked to? We were in the boiler room in a circle with one flashlight in the center. And I don't agree with taunting spirits, but not everyone in my group agreed. George loves the Steelers. And one guy in the group started making fun of them. So George would communicate using the flashlight, slowly turning it off and on. The flashlight was the one where you had to press the button on the back to get it to work. And I don't remember the question we asked, but I do remember as soon as the light went out, I instantly felt something around my neck. And it was really hard to breathe. My hair was tied up, and so I knew it wasn't that. And my boyfriend knew better than to mess with me. I ran out of the room trying to catch my breath, and I've never been more scared in my life.
Wait, I don't like that because George doesn't sound like the type of ghost that would be strangling someone.
I know. It seems like something else came in and took advantage of the situation.
Ugh.
while everyone was distracted and laughing and having their guard down, chatting or maybe arguing with George about the Steelers.
Yeah.
Something else tried to choke this person out. Okay.
Yikes.
Last story. My family is from Massachusetts. Over the past summer, we went up and we visited some family and we stayed in this okay motel. My mom and my sister A were in one bed and my youngest sister K and I were in the other. I woke up in the middle of the night needing to pee, as one does, and when I opened my eyes, I saw this shadow person sitting on the edge of the bed of A's feet. I didn't think much of it because I needed to go, so I went to the bathroom and then I laid back down in bed and the figure was still there. Normally I would freak the fuck out, but for some reason I had no issue going back to sleep. When I told my family about it the next day, A and K told me that I was crazy, that I was just seeing things. But my mom did believe me. See you on the other side, Cora.
Okay, Cora, you've had a lot of like end of bed experiences, or I guess a couple.
It is interesting that, I mean, in these previous encounters that Cora had, there is fear.
Yeah.
There's like a holy shit. What is that woman doing floating into the ceiling? Holy shit, I'm being choked out by a ghost in this abandoned building.
That's horrifying.
But then this woman that's just sitting on the edge of the bed for a long period of time, like your pee break was not enough for her to just be like, oh, maybe I should go.
Right.
But you're fine. She must have been good then. She created a peaceful atmosphere.
I want to know more about that place where they did the ghost investigation. And George, clearly there's other spirits there. And I'm curious who they are and what they want and why they're choking people. Because
why are you choking people?
Unless it's consensual and asked for, keep your hands to yourself.
You must. That is assault.
I'm going to bring up toes again, but this time potatoes. This is from our listener, Nina, and it's called Hold On to Your Potatoes. Hello, ladies. My name is Nina. I am from Texas, and no shit, I have a story for you. First, I want to say growing up, my family has always told me that our family is cursed. Something about my great-grandpa dating a woman before he met my great-grandma, and that woman practiced witchcraft. So to this day, I still believe this is true because no matter where we go, something always follows us and something bad happens. This story is from when I was 17. Me, my mom, and my two sisters and my little brother moved into a townhouse. My little sister and I shared a room, and my older sister had her own. But the room me and my sister shared looked like an attic with a slanted ceiling and no windows, and our mattresses were both on the floor. There was a closet, but the closet had a lock on the outside of it, which was always kind of weird to me. Growing up, we experienced a lot of scary shit, but this tops everything. A few nights after moving in, I fell asleep around 12-ish at night, and me being I need total darkness and doors closed or else I can't sleep, would make sure the closet door was locked so it wouldn't open because it had a loud creak to it. That night, I woke up around 2 a.m. I sat up on my mattress and let my eyes adjust to the darkness. And I looked up to see my sister sitting up in bed, staring in the direction of the closet. It was open and unlocked. I asked her, "Hey, did you open the closet?" She then pointed, still staring at the closet, and said, "There's a little boy in there."
No.
So
Shivers.
I told her, just leave him. Let's go back to bed. But I fell back to sleep and woke up to my sister screaming. I jumped up, scared out of my fucking mind, only to see her get dragged off the bed towards the closet. Let me tell you, I literally said, fuck that, ran to my mom's room and woke her up. My mom comes to check. My sister's literally asleep in her bed.
Ew. Oh my gosh. My whole body is just repulsed by this story. This is so scary.
The next morning, my sister didn't remember anything, but she had hand-shaped bruises around her ankles. So I know I was not tripping. I saw what happened. Hope you like my story. I have so many more. Have an awesome day, Nina.
Nina, did she not have any dreams of this happening or anything?
I'm glad she doesn't remember.
Yeah.
Because, but it's so scary because within a matter of what I imagine to be 30 seconds to a minute, where Nina ran to go get her mom, as Nina was leaving the room, her sister was literally being dragged by some entity towards the closet. And within seconds, they come back, she's asleep. Nina's sister was screaming.
This does make me curious about, well, this is just freaking terrifying no matter what, but it does make me curious about time. Like, when Nina's sister was dragged into the closet, was there enough time in the closet in whatever like ghost world or portal that she might have been dragged into for something to happen, like a prolonged visitation.
That's
And so then
horrifying.
when she was brought back, even though in our perception it's only a couple seconds, but when she was brought back, there was already a lot of time that had passed. And so she was no longer crying or screaming. She was knocked out again.
Or alternatively, did this entity have the ability to change and alter time for Nina and her mom? Like, did Nina think it was only seconds, but didn't have a clock or anything? Nina's like frozen on the stairs running to get her mom.
Oh, or did her sister just pass out from fear?
Also, the fact that the closet needed, like, I don't lock any of my closets. I feel like the only closets I've ever seen that are locked are at Airbnbs when it's like owner's stuff, don't enter. I don't think a closet should ever need a lock.
Although I can see myself doing that. Like sometimes I think I should add a lock to my attic because it just freaks me out. I know there's nobody up there.
Attic makes sense, but like if it's your closet where your clothes are in that you have to get into every single day.
Yeah, I guess it just depends. Are there monsters in the closet? Because if so,
Right,
maybe
that's what
I'll
I'm
add
saying.
a lock too.
It makes me suspicious. Anytime that you need to put a lock on a closet,
Right.
I'm suspicious.
Nina, we need you to research the previous owners, reach out to them and ask why they put a lock on that
Why
closet.
there was a lock. Nina, we're assigning you homework.
Come back to us. You have an infinite amount of time to complete it because we don't want you to be stressed.
But the sooner
But
the
we
better
are
because
curious.
we want to know.
Yeah, like preferably before we die.
I think that's a fair ask.
I have one to end us on, and it is called Creepy Kid because we love a good creepy kid.
I feel like our last episode before you go on maternity leave should be a creepy kid.
Only creepy kids.
Yeah. Just to
Yeah.
get you really ready for what you're bringing into the world.
I am ready for the child.
Who will be creepier, you or your kid?
Am I going to scare my child? Probably.
100%.
This email starts off with, "Hi.
Hi.
First off, congratulations, Corinne, on your future creepy kid. It was so special hearing you tell Sabrina on the podcast. So happy for you and Bryan. In honor of your creepy kid, I decided it was time that I finally write in my own tale as a creepy kid myself. So,
Yes.
a little backstory. Until the age of 6, myself, my sister, and my parents lived in a pretty active house. This mainly affected myself and my sister, who were 3 years younger than me. We would hear voices coming from the basement. Our 90s television would turn on max volume with white noise in the middle of the night, and the kitchen cabinet doors would open on their own, just to name a few of the things that would happen. But there are 3 things that really jump out in my memory. In that house, I had an imaginary friend named Ciara. From what I'm told, Ciara did everything with me.
Yeah.
She would have a plate at the kitchen table and have to be buckled in the chair.
Wow.
My mom would catch me talking and playing with Ciara constantly. This went on for years until we finally moved. After a couple of weeks into living in our new house, my mom asked where Ciara was, and apparently I looked at her with a blank look and just said, "Ciara died." Mom asked, "How did that happen?" And I said, "Mom, you know she was hit by a car." And I never spoke about her again. Was it actually an imaginary friend, or was it a little ghost friend for me? The weirdest thing is I have zero memory of Ciara, but I remember other things from that house perfectly. Next up, the nightmares that I had there. As a 32-year-old, I still remember the dreams little me would have in that house. It would be as if I were trapped in my dreams, and most nights I would wake up in this nightmare to run to my parents' room and just find myself still in the dream, and my parents were not my parents. I would always be chased by something, and I just knew that if I were caught, it was not going to be a good thing.
Oh.
After listening to the Back Rooms episode, it gave me a creepy feeling that I've been in there before, and all I could think of were these dreams. Since then, I've never had as realistic dreams as I did when we lived there. And last, and probably the worst thing that has ever happened to me in that house.
Oh, no.
My sister, still sleeping in the crib, I think maybe she was under 2 for sure, but I can't remember exactly. One night, my dad heard a banging coming from her room and went to go check it out. When he walked in, he saw her crib banging the wall and swears up and down that she was floating maybe a foot from the mattress. He grabbed her, and I'm pretty sure she started sleeping in their room most of the nights after that.
Yeah, no shit.
So that was the only time I was told of something so physical. Those are just a few of the big things that stand out from my haunted house. Thank you for giving a creepy community for all of us to share our personal stories while learning about more of the paranormal world. My husband always jokes that if we get haunted, it's going to be my fault, but he loves listening just as much as I do. Stay spooky. Love you, ladies. Brittany.
Brittany, you can blame us if you get haunted.
Yeah, everyone does.
Your husband will blame
ourselves too.
you, and you can blame us. But also, it sounds like you already are haunted.
I know.
I'm curious about Ciara because it does seem like it's a ghost friend who maybe either moved on or like couldn't continue on in life with Brittany. And so told Brittany like how they died.
It's so weird. It like really trips me up because part of me is like, what if this is some sort of like weird astral projection or like glitch in the Matrix where Brittany was of flesh and bone and like would play with her, but they were the only two that could see each other in their overlapping timelines, and Ciara died. But then another thought that I have is, oh God, I can't remember the name of the movie. It was so good though, where it was, I've referenced it before, and I'm going to give a spoiler because I don't know how to describe it otherwise. But basically, there are these two sisters. They're at odds with their dad and their stepmom. And the whole thing is just about like them bonding together and being together. And it's like them against their family.
Mm-hmm.
And then you find out in the end that there was like a fire or some sort of tragedy and that the sister had actually died. And she was just imagining the sister the whole time. And
Sounds
so
like one of the pilots I was writing.
Well, I'll figure out what the movie is so you can watch the movie. But it makes me think of like, is there something like that where in Brittany's world, Ciara truly does exist, but for some reason, I don't know. I'm like getting all like wrapped up with like, what if she does exist, but only certain people can see her?
I'm leaning more into like the traditional, like imaginary ghost friend that is a ghost. And I would be curious if you could research in that area that Brittany grew up in to find out about like a car accident where a young girl, Ciara, passed away. Because I feel like those types of documents and news stories would be able to be found.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you could find out timeline and try to piece it together.
Okay, guys, send us your emails, anything that has to do with the paranormal, but especially creepy kids.
Yes.
It's one of those topics we like to keep coming back to.
We like to revisit. If you were a creepy kid, or if you have a creepy kid, if you know a creepy kid, if you're trying to, like me, turn your niece or godchild into a creepy kid, let us know how you're working that angle.
Give us all the details, all the tips and tricks, and tell us what creepy things were said and done.
Yes.
You can email us at 2girls1ghostpodcast@gmail.com. And you can also support us by telling other people about the podcast and rating and reviewing wherever you listen.
And everyone remind Corinne how incredible she is and how hard a worker she is.
Well, now I just feel uncomfortable.
Okay, well, I love you and I'm so proud of you. And
thanks.
You are such an incredible human. And I hope you can give yourself some grace.
Everyone let me know what you did to get rid of your mom brain, if it's even possible after. Like, how do you reintroduce yourself into memory?
To memory. If you would like access to bonus episodes, like full-length bonus episodes, and to get all of the episodes on our regular feed 1 week early and ad-free, and have campfire stories, which we go live every Tuesday night to do, join us on Patreon. And then, honestly, just tell your friends about us. It's a pyramid scheme. Tell 2 people, they tell 2 people. I don't know. Go to the graveyard, tell all the ghosts.
Tell all your haunted dolls, too. We need them,
like our podcast.
Their support.
We welcome them. There's a seat for everyone at the table.
Shout out to Jamie Ryan, who is our producer and editor of this podcast. We could not do it without you. Or if we did, it certainly would not be of the quality that it is. Let's be real. And thank you to all of you who keep coming back every week, multiple times a week for the episodes that we produce to keep ourselves in the Halloween spirit.
Always.
We love you. And we will see you on the other side.